Have you ever wondered why certain individuals seem irresistible to others? What makes hearts beat faster and causes an overwhelming attraction? Could it be due to unique character traits, attractive appearance, or magnetic charm? Or are there deeper, hidden factors that determine this phenomenon? Carl Jung, the eminent 20th century psychologist, offered a revolutionary perspective on the nature of love, asserting that it is not a random event. In his view, attraction arises for two fundamental reasons, rooted in the innermost corners of the human psyche. In this article, we will explore Jung's fascinating ideas about projection in love, the concepts of anima and animus, and understand why people often experience a strong attraction, not to who you are on the surface, but to what you symbolize in their inner world. We will delve into the depths of the subconscious forces that shape romantic feelings and uncover two key reasons why someone might genuinely fall in love. These reasons go far beyond external qualities and reflect the hidden architecture of the human soul, promising to open new horizons in understanding human relationships. It is commonly believed that love is a magical, unpredictable phenomenon, a spark that ignites quite unexpectedly. However, according to Carl Jung, even the most sudden attraction is subject to deep patterns, an internal logic shaped by the subconscious rather than mere chance. The seeming spontaneity of connection is rarely entirely arbitrary. In reality, it is the visible result of hidden forces formed over years of internal work. Behind every fleeting contact lies a complex structure of unprocessed emotions, unmet needs, and the silent architecture of the soul, guiding us towards certain people and away from others. It is here that the Jungian concept of projection manifests. Each person carries within them hidden images of who they are, who they believe themselves to be, or who they aspire to be. Often these images are suppressed, denied, or lost in the depths of the subconscious, but they do not disappear without a trace, continuing to exist, manifesting through other people. Meeting someone who resonates with these internal parts creates an inexplicable, almost mystical attraction. But in reality, a person sees not another, but a reflection of their own part in their presence. Imagine a person whose life has been defined by caution, timidity, and even a certain emotional restraint. Meeting a personality that radiates courage, expressiveness, and a love of freedom can evoke in them a sense of deep fascination. This is not mere admiration, but rather an echo of the potential that lies dormant in their own soul, perhaps a facet they have secretly dreamed of. Attraction in this case is a reality, but its true power lies in the subconscious response to the need for personal growth and integration. A similar situation arises in the reverse scenario. A person may be attracted not to your obvious virtues, but to what you, without realizing it, represent for them. Perhaps they have found in you a character trait, quality, or emotional coloring that they deeply lack. You become a living embodiment of that part of themselves that they unconsciously seek, but have not yet been able to develop. This is the first reason for attraction. You represent what a person lacks or is subconsciously seeking. It is not simply about the attraction of opposites, but about how these opposites expose a lack or potential within a personality. A rational person may feel a strong attraction to an emotional one, an introvert to an extrovert, and a person striving for order to chaos. However, if a person does not realize that their admiration is a reflection of the potential they can develop in themselves, this admiration can easily turn into dependence. They may cling to another not out of true love, but out of a subconscious need. And when this need changes, or when reality destroys their idealized image, attraction may weaken. This is where the treachery of projection lies. It creates a deceptive sense of unity, which often shatters against harsh reality. And when this illusion dissipates, love, erected on the shaky foundation of projections, begins to crumble relentlessly. However, Carl Jung did not stop at the study of projection. He continued his research, developing the concepts of anima and animus, archetypal images of the opposite sex residing in the depths of the human soul. According to Jung, in the soul of every man lives an unconscious feminine image called the anima, and in the soul of every woman an unconscious masculine image called the animus. We're not talking about random preferences or cultural stereotypes, but about deeply rooted, emotionally charged figures formed under the influence of the earliest relationships with parental figures, as well as the collective symbols of masculinity and femininity inherited from culture, myths, and human nature itself. Over time, these archetypes turn into emotional patterns that we unconsciously carry within us. And then one day we meet someone who, we think, perfectly matches this inner image. At this moment, the attraction can be overwhelming. Often there is an inexplicable feeling of recognition, as if we have known this person for an eternity, even if our meeting happened very recently. It can be perceived as predestination, meeting a soulmate, or awakening a long-forgotten memory. But Jung warns us, as a rule, this is not evidence of fate or cosmic soul kinship. It is just the soul recognizing its own inner image in another person. Secondly, the phenomenon of sudden infatuation is explained by the fact that a person involuntarily becomes a reflection of an anima or animus deeply rooted in the subconscious, and it's not so much about external resemblance or manners, but about the ability to awaken a certain internal response that causes a storm of emotions. The connection arises instantly and seems inexplicable, since in reality the object of adoration becomes a symbol, a key to the inner world of another person. However, when infatuation arises on the basis of this projection, the true essence of the person remains invisible. Instead of a real personality, they see only a figment of the imagination, a kind of sacred ideal, a psychological construct. A person turns into a screen onto which scenarios written long before the meeting are projected. But as soon as shortcomings and contradictions appear, the fullness of human nature, the illusion, begins to crumble. What seemed divine appears in a confusing light. What seemed ideal turns into complexity. Conflicts inevitably arise. Disappointment is followed by the collapse of illusions, and love, unable to bear the burden of reality, crumbles into dust. Why do stormy romances so often start with dizzying euphoria and turn into real chaos? The reason lies in the fact that they are not based on true mutual understanding, but on an archetypal projection, an unconscious scenario striving to be realized in reality. However, no mortal is able to eternally correspond to an idealized archetype. Despite the pain and confusion that often accompany projections, Carl Jung did not consider them a failure. On the contrary, he saw them as an important component of personal growth. Love is not just an emotional experience, it is a powerful tool for transformation. Every person we fall in love with becomes a kind of mirror, reflecting what we need to see in ourselves. Some people reflect our dormant potential, others expose our deepest fears. Someone awakens our creative beginning, and someone triggers a mechanism of insecurity. But they all serve the same psychological purpose, to accelerate the process of individuation, that is, the path to finding an integral and authentic personality. When someone falls in love, it seems to them that they see something magical in you, and in a sense this is indeed the case, but the magic lies in what you awaken in that person. You are not just a person, you are a symbol, a turning point, a psychological invitation, and the same is true in the opposite direction. The people we fall in love with, especially those who shake us to the core, change us, break our hearts, appear in our lives for a reason. They are carriers of meaning, catalysts for our inner evolution. Some come to awaken what lies dormant within us, others to teach us lessons that we stubbornly refuse to learn. Still others appear only to show us our own reflection, distorted or clear, depending on our willingness to face the truth. Not all relationships have to be measured in years. Some of them are designed to destroy established stereotypes, others to dispel rose-colored glasses. Carl Jung called such collisions synchronistic events, devoid of logical connection, but filled with deep meaning. When a person suddenly appears on your life path and causes a storm of emotions, it is hardly an accident. Probably your subconscious and his subconscious were ready for this meeting, which became a harbinger of future changes. Do not perceive such meetings as mistakes. Even those relationships that cause pain and leave scars carry valuable lessons. Love is a kind of journey to yourself. Why do people fall in love with you? Perhaps you are projecting what they desperately need, or awakening in them what they have long forgotten. In any case, love is not just about you, but also about your soul's aspiration for growth and wholeness. You fall in love with those who reflect your missing qualities, those who resemble your inner images, your anima or animus. Consciously or unconsciously, you seek those who hold the key to the next chapter of your personal growth. However, without realizing these patterns, you can fall into a trap, attracting the same people over and over again, repeating old mistakes and chasing unattainable dreams. It may seem that you are simply unlucky in love, but in reality, your subconscious is persistently trying to teach you something you are not yet ready for. Carl Jung argued that the key to true love lies in awareness. When a person gains understanding of their own projections, inner archetypes, and established patterns of behavior, the need to search for a soulmate disappears. The process of internal integration begins, and love transforms, freeing itself from the power of fantasies and fears. It becomes genuine and free, for the essence of deep love lies not in the idealization of a partner, but in the awakening of dormant aspects of one's own personality. Falling in love, a person discovers not only another, but also new facets of themselves. The Jungian view of love emphasizes that it is not just an interaction with the external world, but a journey to self-discovery. Consequently, when someone experiences a strong attraction to another, it is important to ask, what aspects of my soul are awakened at this